and welcome to TFM Today. I am your host Aliou Jallo, and joining me in the second half of the program to discuss the main news will be the acting police PRO Mohamed Musa Sisao and our reporter Mohamed Drame. Let's begin with today's headlines. President Adama Barrow arrived from the 64th ECOWAS Summit. Governor Bojan leads peace talks between the women gardeners of Faraba, Kairaba and the UTG. Following the recent police demolition, President Adama Barrow promised to build over 2,000 shops in Brikama Market to compensate business owners. And women liberation and leadership tackle issues like rape and child marriage in the Gambia. Testimony of a Bagwe returnee, Babukar Baji, a 29-year Gambian who vows never to return. Trial of former Gambian Interior Minister Usman Sonko for crimes against humanity set to begin in Switzerland. The Gambia is facing economic challenges in inflation hits high, as inflation hits record high of 18.5% in September. Business owners demand police demolition of illegal encroachment. And in sports, Sarayero FC won Sarengai football tournament in a thrilling final against Jeddah with goalkeeper Sadio Ba as their hero. This and many more stories. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Babukar Baji, a 29-year Gambian tailor, embarked on a perilous journey to Europe via the back way on a boat in Senegal to the Canary Island in Spain. He witnessed horrific acts including the death of a young boy labeled as a witch, the stabbing of a soldier, and the gang rape of a young woman who died. 3 other Gambians were also murdered. More in this report by Mohamed Lamin Drame. Yesterday, they will be held accountable. Moving on, President Adama Barrow arrives home from the 64th ECOWAS Summit. While talking to reporters upon arrival, he discussed various topics including the mention on the TRRC report, the economic mandate being extended for 1 year, and issues facing the sub-region. Here is an excerpt.
And a government where you and your colleagues have been discussing challenges confronting the sub-region. How positive were your discussions in tackling the root causes of some of these challenges, key among them insecurity, fueled by military coups, declining economic growth, among other things?
Thank you very much. This meeting was a statutory meeting, but we discussed a lot of issues. But I think the theme was on peace and security, looking at what is happening at the sub-region in Africa. Terrorism, extremism, unconstitutional change of government. These are issues that are challenging the sub-region. So we feel that we should discuss it as a team to see how best we can put our heads together and our ideas together to see how we are going to confront it head-on. But I think the major decision, the takeaway is we want dialogue. I think dialogue is the best way forward. And some teams have been set up to lead the dialogue between us and countries that are affected. Definitely, this is the message. This was the agreement.
The authority has recommended for the Gambia, that is your government, to fast-track the implementation of the white paper on the TRRC recommendations, and of course the new constitution. From now on, how recommitted would be your government in this drive to attaining these recommendations?
Basically, there were a lot of issues discussed about other countries, but the Gambia was about the constitution and the TRRC. But so far, I think we are on track. The TRRC, we are setting up a team because we need to investigate these cases before we can go to court or otherwise. So we are trying to set up that team, and the Minister of Justice is leading that. And also we have organizations that are partnering with us to make sure that we have consensus on the constitution, so that we can go to referendum. I think that's what we are doing. We are on track, but because it's an international body that we are part of, they also want to encourage Gambia and support Gambia as far as these issues are concerned.
The mandate of the economic mission in the Gambia has also been extended to 1 year. Was this a request from your government, or was it informed by happenings in the sub-region?
It was not even a request from our government, but looking at the circumstances around the sub-region, I think they deem it fit that the mission should continue. And knowing very well that they have a representative here, and they did all their assessment and things that are happening around the sub-region, I think there was a conclusion that, consensus that Gambia, the team in the Gambia should continue.
Finally, you also had a fruitful discussion with the Gambian community who visited you during your stay there.
Yes, I had a very, very good meeting with them. They have issues, they have challenges. Because it's challenges of getting passports, challenges of getting birth certificates for their children. I think these were their major challenges. And we were able to give them suggestions and proposals for the way forward, how to address those issues. I think basically that was the discussion. And they always wanted me to update them about developments in the Gambia, and which we did very well, to inform them about the development and the peace and the progress that is in the Gambia and what we are doing, the infrastructural development. We did make mention of all that. Thank you.
Thanks. Welcome.
From that story that we head to Faraba. On Wednesday, December 6, Governor Usman J. Bojang of the West Coast region spearhead peace talk between the women gardeners of Faraba Karaba and the University of the Gambia. The conflict arose due to significant encroachment onto their farmland that they have been using for the past 6 years. More in this report. The farmlands they had been using for the past 6 years. The dispute began last year when women and youth of the village requested a halt to construction due to severe encroachment. Subsequently, when work resumed from a different direction, the women took a decisive action by burying the already concrete foundation for the UTG perimeter fence. Governor Usman J. Bojang expressed that the slow progress of the agreement last year prompted the women's reactions, which he found helpful. He assured the women that he is there to defend their interests, but urged them to exercise restraint.
So barindam mal ngame ni sita jam badi mo ngamira ku nganyo jibe maybe se bla soto no le mbe na 5 hectares sotla na be lesla na defanala ni ne lo fe ni fitis na 5 hectares ngata agriculture.
The Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Professor Pierre Gomez, stated that the dialogue proved beneficial. They made headways in resolving the issue and assured the women of compensating part of the encroached land and providing a borehole in the shortest possible time. Additionally, there are plans to erect a fence for their garden as part of their community services.
So they understood. One, I told them, the VDC, the alcalde and the chief, to sit down and agree with the governor, and we give them maximum 1 month. Then we will drill the borehole, okay? And it will be done by somebody. The contractor will come from Faraba, so we'll give them drill the borehole. Maximum 1 month. Once they identify the place where they want us to drill the borehole, we will do that. And then also for the fencing, I told them that for me, I don't always tell people what they want to hear. I have to tell them the truth, okay, what is possible. This fencing is not possible within 1 month. We need to mobilize funds, and we do that. So that one will take time, but we're going to do it. So I've assured them of our readiness to do the fencing for them, and it will take time. But to drill the borehole, maximum 1 month.
Sekou Sow, the chairperson of the Village Development Committee, highlighted that after exhausting measures with the UTG and the governor without a positive outcome, the women are tired of empty promises. He emphasized that their land is their source of survival and their stance is clear. They need concrete actions.
I am appealing to the right authorities. Ya tandiko, ya lonko, inyanta minkela ye lodula dafa, because near lodula dafa no de futala bito. But to be honest with you, we are disappointed. We are really disappointed from their actions from onset. Honestly, we are very much disappointed because my espeko kunyimbe futala bito, because they use the war stop that they apply this sort of trade. So that doesn't make sense. So memu banku dingoleti. At least nyo kana soso kana nyofa.
Fanta Bojang and Maria Majete both expressed that they have no issues with relocating if they allocated the land with the right documentations. However, until that is done, they refuse to leave their land for anything. They fear that once the fencing is complete, they might lose everything.
Ko ye keno nim misal ibe jantala. Ni wati mkono janin karobe fala ye keno ye tendin. Ya fonyo ko albekela jan. Ye kaito dada bete ya yodin. Lefta won.
Ina la jan do fencing te kala jam fodi nga keno je nyaal. Wala ben tol bulo kon. Ni nga keno je nyaala hani bi isa do ko commencer bar ni nyaamaje do ko tekel. Ha wala mun tol fan la lod lata nyin ko kon. Ha ndu wo kay manku je mimbe o bayel.
Well, we hope the authorities take measures to resolve the issue. Now, moving on, in the Gambia, the women in liberation and leadership are tackling issues like rape and child marriage. They recently organized an event of traditional communicators using powerful drama to highlight the exploitation of young girls, where a teacher manipulates and assaults female ladies. More in this report by Mohamed Lamin Drame.
Issues related to gender and sexual violence recently organized a training program for over 30 women traditional communicators locally known as Kanyalans. These communicators were trained to develop strong messages on sexual and gender-based violence that is currently affecting women and girls in the country. As part of their training, the Kanyalans gathered together and performed dramas with themes centered on women's issues. They also composed songs that communicate the dangers female genital mutilation and other harmful practices. This effort is part of WIL's ongoing campaign to raise awareness about the importance of women's rights and the need to end gender-based violence on female genital mutilation.
Ntole jankai ni nata jali yaro ne jamu musola office jamu willa office wati alna se kairo sotonal se asala problem phone on te fana misa jibe be solution ni nata to nyale be dunga na mbala li duro yi fana ngasi ngaka chafulo domandi janni bita sabai ila ba ko na fenke pelti je oui kala se tolle de oui la se tolle de ifendi okay mbawa fi ikala se tolle ba ayo si Banso, kami dulu nalu ni kata ni. Kami yang kini ni mau jibe penyen ilaf tanya nak cuci nyara. Wala. Kalau dulu man feres pun, kalau tak tanya turuni FGM lah. Itu kan sungguh nak dimbayar ni ayes pun. Ni kaman toro ni sabu dini mulai kaku ko ni mu dina puti, ni man ke dina puti. Hanya tu dina kule sunnah le. Andu sunnah dulu man ke fast, man ke falot, man ke forset. Ni ake junu betela, ni ake berado tela. Sila muni bete dulu nak kira dino samba. Ay bata soto mi yalo ko ite ko ngoy wota kede ite yalo ne ko mi musolti ulo to na jele ka la faro ke nyame ni la faro be ani ni musol mi akay fa ko no ko ka fa fe ko timono ni ne kanyi sabu sila muna nan to be sonna be ndi musol sambala ni to andu iko nka kele ko pour ay ni ngol kala fi nyame ke wala itala bante na jele ko mantala ibita su jumale e man di wota mi yalo ko wuluta ando aninke amanke sigot mo be dawo dal sila la na
This is one of the dramas performed. It depicts a young mother who is determined to travel to a place to get her daughter circumcised, but she is stopped from doing it by another woman who explains to her the dangers of female genital mutilation and how it can violate the rights of the child who cannot decide at this point. Meanwhile, 3 female circumcisers, known as Ngansimbas, in the local community, who view female circumcision as a traditional practice that they grew up with and use it as a means of generating income, say they will only stop this practice if the government or any other individuals or organizations that are advocating for them to do so provide them with an alternative source of revenue.
Barinte, kabobila, kata muroni malandi da ndon ka fonen talanda muna nan kon talandi da ibenna balu wala ibadila na ya fanya ko nyine be keri ali muro landi nyine be je kadu to nya be damen ndela balu wala ba kwal tara ko mu andu niya jante bambanta je kon talandi la ngalon ko dinolam sunnolam na balu wala babal oto ni be sonna ba bula bondilam bul ibe dalile dinala mbe mamutala mbe balula dam
ndere ndalande fati ngaje membe mbalundila kato alata ko wala ndala muro wala kan dingol karandi aka mama dingol karandi aka najata kende asahandi sai ni tal date ko ngalandi mambala luwalande bari muro nto lande na tanko man kuje mense no problem o solve.
Traditional communicators are influential community figures and can use their oratory skills to promote significant social awareness on many taboo subjects.
From that story that we now look into the Operation Clear the Roads. In the face of the authorized demolition due to illegal encroachment along the Brikama Highway, impacted business owners in Faraba share their story of financial loss and emotional strain. More in this story by Senabu Gassama.
Numerous vendors whose subs have been raised says this continues national undertaking, spearheaded by the National Road Authority and the Gambia Police Force, has severely impacted their businesses, causing monetary losses and emotional distress. They have implored the government via the relevant authorities to seek out an alternative solution for them, such as allocating other areas where they can conduct their businesses. Mama Drame is one of the vendors in Brikama whose stores were demolished. She shares her thoughts on the matter.
Biriya kadino tinya mbuka wa firdula soto batata ninga fano lulandi damento ye bondije ye mbai labango police olu ka funyere ko ni mamboje mbe sambala police andu mbe soronnal.
According to Mama, they have been experiencing discrimination from the police since the demolition began as they struggle to make ends meet. Ada Majata is one of the vendors whose stores were demolished in the Brikama market. She has been unable to sell her goods due to the need to find a new place to do business. Like many others, Adama is facing significant economic challenges at the moment.
Kabiri na palaso boy na bagasol bebe suwo konon. Bungo be faden fengol la tep. Hospiti ko le bembul. Nyim dam maman kentela wa fer fengol. Bari njaxal tal do wala nangi kanam bodin din kono don ngelonde pour ka fefi. Dimbal bembulu mako la tenna. Ntol ka fefi jana ngada dimbal topoto.
These vendors at the Brikama market have appealed to the government for assistance as they are currently left with no other options. They are hopeful that the government will consider alternative solutions to address their concerns. Bakari Seidi, who sold second-hand clothes at the Brikama market, is one such vendor.
Na isa mamman saya, o man sa fon bavle ta do ko la. Se ka do ko gadamen, iko e wuli woto, imandula do dila. Yalo ko ya ndu momro ne fonga balu. Iba mo wulinde ka fana ko wuli jan sijan. Bari ya wulinde iman sijan diala, iman fendo diala, e ka do wulera si sokon. O bada wadal.
In its quest to respond to the concerns of the affected vendors, the Brikama Area Council is taking a huge step to address the concerns of the affected vendors by allocating a temporary location to relocate them during the ongoing operation. We speak to Mariama Fati regarding the council's initiative to relocate women vendors to a temporary location. Despite it not being strategically located for her, she shares her views on the development.
Because mulbe dami nu ala location on intana location on mambetia but ya don sa ni man dulado soto fay dulado muta yanko na jan bondi mole alhamdulillah ni ala ya ka fombe ka fta nyuma janto ay mum foko ale o kae anata fo mbe na ka fta nyaa wo mol ma ko ilale.
Since the start of this nationwide operation, many people have pointed out the significant challenges it has created, especially for low-income earners who depend on their daily sales to survive. They have called on the government to either stop the operation or find better alternatives, as they believe that it will have severe economic consequences. Reporting for the Fatu Network, I am Senabu Gassama. Encroachments.
Reacting to that crisis, President Adam Barrow has announced plans to build 2,200 new shops in Brikama Market after the recent demolition left many vendors without selling space. Barrow assured the people of Brikama that they would have more opportunities during his term than in the past 50 years. The announcement followed a resolution by the Brikama Area Council to sue the National Road Authority and the Gambia Police Force over demolition. Joining me to discuss the effects of the demolition is the Gambia Police Sorry. Joining me to discuss the effects of the demolition is the Gambia Police Force Acting Public Relations Officer, Mamadou Musa Sisa, ASP. Welcome to the Fatu Network.
Thanks for having me.
Well, you've had there, can you take us through some of the successes on the recent operation Clear the Roads, as many have been putting blames on the Gambia Police Force from those reports that you had there?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think this operation is one of the best operations so far I have witnessed in this country, and I am proud to be associated with this operation. And the operation is such that it's an operation that has been initiated to actually solve a problem that has been happening in this country, and that is the transportation system of our country. We understand that the Gambia has been in a position at a time that transportation has been an issue for everybody, not only for the civil service, but also even the public service, for private service, for individuals moving from one part of the country to the other. This has been an issue that has been going up to a level that it only doesn't affect the people, it also affects our revenue, it affects the development aspirations that we have, because it can be overemphasized, the importance of transportation in the country, because it's a means of communication, and in every respect for development to actually be sustained, we have to ensure that our transportation system is in good condition and is favorable, and it can be utilized appropriately wherever and whenever it's required. And you'll be aware, for most people, especially government staff, who will be traveling, let's say from Brikama to Banjul to work, and many times that we have received reports that people would have to leave as early as 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock just to get to Banjul, which should have been less than an hour drive. But many times, because of the conditions in terms of congestion, in terms of people having to encroach on the road, making it very unconducive for drivers and even for pedestrians. So the government coming up with this task force, I think, is very timely to be able to resolve this, because there has to be a solution. And the solution that is in place, that is to create a task force, a very comprehensive one indeed, because all stakeholders as far as transportation is concerned are involved. Mostly the Gambia Police Force being the coordinating body for the task force. Simple reason being the fact that the Gambia Police Force is responsible for internal security. And when we talk about transportation, and we have the police officers on the road trying to ensure that commuters, vehicle and everything are actually going on, controlling the traffic. And also they are the very people responsible also to ensure that the rules and regulations around traffic are enforced. So it is only fair that the Gambia Police Force is part of this task force, but not only being a part, but being a coordinating body, because they enforce the laws of the land. Including also is the National Road Authority, and we have physical planning, we have the council members, the council representative, Banjul City Council, Kanifing Municipal Council, Brikama Area Council, and also we have the Gambia Transport or General Transport Union, because when you talk about the transportation system, congestion on the road, you're talking about vehicles and you're talking of drivers, and this is managed, or an association here responsible for them is the Transport Union. This is why it was important to have them as part of the task force. And not also forgetting the National Life Owners Association, because there came a time in this country, and I think until now, we still have cattle on our roads, we have animals on our roads, and it's important that we ensure that we remove them on the road, because they are equally a danger to our transportation system. And yes, coming to the effects, when you look at the effect, it could be in two folds, like you mentioned. Effect could be what people assume to be good and bad. As far as I know, I think the good of this operation supersedes the other effect, the negative effects that may come with it individually, because the negative effects would actually affect individuals. But the greater good, I think, is what people actually should look into. And the greater good is to ensure that our transportation system, to ensure that our roads are safe, to ensure that the accidents and incidents of traffic-related matters in this country are regulated. And one of those is this task force, because the task force is ensuring that as of today, from Brikama going to Westfield, the road, the congestion has actually drastically reduced as a result of the fact that most most of the encroachment of shops and businesses and vendors on the road, and also vehicles that are parked in places where they're supposed not to be parked are also removed, and plans are in place to ensure that this continues.
Now, many people actually are not happy with this operation, especially with the police, and the case in to make mention of is the Brikama Area Council, who actually promised to sue the Gambia Police Force and the National Road Authority to court. You also talked about the good effect of it, that's the greater effect of it. Can you tell us some of the success and some of the challenges that you are facing as an enforcing body?
Yes, for the success of the success is what is the task was mandated to do as far as this operation is concerned. The success of that is that we actually are doing what we are supposed to do, and the public is complying. People are actually cooperating with us, and sometimes there are instances where we would have people having to have confused what is happening with realities, and because they're used to the fact that this is the Gambia, operations have come and gone, and most operation is just a day or two. Having to see such an operation going, we are in the second month of the operation, and having to see all those derelict vehicles and chaoses on the road and vendors are removed is a success for the task force, because that's what they've been tasked, or we've been tasked to do, and also ensuring that the roads are clear of obstructions. And yes, that is a success. The other part of it, which you talked about, the negative effect, like I said, negative effect mostly is of individuals, because most individuals would say, I have been sitting here or have been selling here for the past 10, 15 years of my life, and I have been paying rates and I have been paying that, and having to remove them from where they actually, going to find survival for their family. We could understand from a personal perspective that this could be worrisome, this could be unpleasant, but the reality still remains that there has come a time that it is realized that what is happening, or what had been happening, had always been wrong. And there is no better time to correct the wrong than now.
Now, you do demolish and then leave behind. Are there any plans to actually clear those roads as to the leftovers of those clearances you've done? And take us through what measures are you taking to addressing people who are coming back? Because we've seen places that you've already cleared, people still coming back to those places again.
Yes, firstly, regarding the debris or the rubbish around areas that have been cleared as a result of demolition. In Brikama, we started in Brikama when we had the weekends where we bring police officers and other security personnel to come and also work with us to ensure that the environment is clean. We did that twice in Brikama. Unfortunately, the second time, if I could remember, the members of the community joined us. We have the Scorpion Fan Club join us. We have, who were at the garage to ensure that all those rubbish have been taken off the public space. This is happening. And recently also in Coastal Road, around Coastal Road, the market, that we removed vendors on the road, the market, and we moved them all into the market. And we realized that in the evenings or in the night, people would just bring in and pour out their rubbishes on the road and all that. So in addition to that, we also, the coordination by the Inspector General of Police, Abdullah Sanyang, with other stakeholders, we are able to help the stakeholders bring in trucks and heavy machines to ensure that we're able to lift and remove all of those things and being removed on the road. And as of today, if you go to the Coastal Road junction going around the market, you will realize how clean and clear that environment is. This is what is happening, and this is what we're doing. But we would also, because those are public spaces, but at individual places, we would advise individual to, because they constructed those things, they erected them there. We ask them to remove it. So it is incumbent upon them to remove it. And we are not saying that we wouldn't do that, but it will be difficult to go back to every road, whatever was on the road being removed. We have to individually go and pick it all up. That may not be possible, but what we could say is the environment, it belongs to all of us. So if you actually are in a place where you've erected a structure or whatever is on the road and you've been asked to remove it, it means you have to remove it on the public space. It doesn't have to be only broken down or demolished and be left out there. So what we expect is for people to ensure that they remove everything they have put on the public road.
Now, quickly take us through as to the number of cases, or if you have had any person or people that you are currently prosecuting as a result of going back to those places that you have already cleared.
Yes, this is important, this is relevant because like you said, of recent we've also observed that a lot of people are coming back, and when we say coming back are people who actually been moved from where they used to be, and that place has been considered as on the road that they're supposed not to be. And this is not only the vendors but even the vehicle owners, and there are spaces and places where we ask them not to park their vehicles, and sometimes you could realize that they are back there. And what we did tell them is that your customers could be allowed to park in and buy and go because they are moving in and out. But the moment you park 2-3 vehicles in front of your business or shop, what you are encouraging is that any customer who comes would now have to park on the road. So to avoid that is you have to look for a place where you're going to park permanently, then allow the space for the people, the customers who would actually come in to buy. When they buy, they move, another person comes, so that the congestion around those areas would be free. And the other issue is the vendors, the people who are selling in positions, critical positions, and also taxi drivers in critical junctions, because most critical junctions are being identified, and taxi drivers or garages within those areas being informed and asked to move minimum 25 meters away from the main junction, and that is to say what they call the Jaka junction at Joswang, and also the Jimpex junction when going to the hospital. Around that, it's just after the main building, you go the next junction, or the first junction immediately after the main highway. Then also is the Alvihaj. Okay, Alvihaj Johnson, and around Alvihaj, this has been an issue that I have always been talking about. Alvihaj is becoming an issue. We understand that the women around there, the old ma around there, anywhere I go, I would plead with people to talk to her to understand. She might have been there for decades, but time has come that it is decided that no one should be around that end. And I know people cry foul over maybe how it's been, because she's been arrested at a point in time. It was on the social media, people making comments as to, but you could imagine since October 19, we are in December now, this woman or women around there have been told to actually vacate that place. On a weekly basis, they will be asked to move. We come find them there, we arrest them, take them to the police, they are bail. And, under our Gambian so-called maslaha, because these are old people, alhamdulillah, they are not stealing, they are not doing nakasudut nonu, but they are trying to dan their dole to survive. We understand that. But we also have to understand that time has changed, that that place is a critical junction, is not needed for those people to be there. Not only her, but because she refused to go in one way or the other, we still having others coming because they see her there. You have the people we call the Siras boys. We also have the people who sell the belters and the wallets. And last week, I think it was on Friday, I also saw people who sell ice and ice. Yeah. Cold water and all that at the junction. It's a very critical junction. We have a mango tree there, and at a point when the suggestion is it because of the mango tree there, we may apply for the mango tree to be removed there if it is a reason for what is happening and happen, because of the possibilities of safety around that. And I equally saw comments on social media as to, the minister is in, trying to work on climate related matters, and a senior police officer is here claiming or wanting to cut down. So what people need to understand is the public safety takes precedence. Yeah, it is a tree and it is an individual, it is a person or persons, but when an accident occurs is when we would actually realize and understand what we're talking about. That's a critical conjunction. The Alvihaj, where you have Alvihaj Westfield roundabout, you have the mango there and all that. May God forbid, if any time we have the similar case that occurred in, you remember in Jarome last Saturday night? Similar, if a similar occurred in that place, it's going to be catastrophic. So I think this is the reason, or one of the reasons why we are looking at those critical junctions and making sure that anything that has the potential for loss of life or property, we ensure it is removed. So I am also taking this opportunity, anybody who is watching now or who will watch later, and you do know people around, not only this woman, but people around that Westfield junction under the mango is very risky. And please plead with the old lady. We've tried our best, and what we are left with is our only choice is to prosecute her.
Now, can you, just in 30 seconds, can you tell us if there is any statistics as to number of people that are prosecuted due to the fact that they've already gone back to places that they were already asked to vacate?
At this moment, we have no less than 50 persons who have been taken to court. No less than 50 persons. Among those, the one I can remember vividly from the top of my head is that we had 28 persons who were taken to court, and out of the 28, 17 were charged. They were charged $500 by the courts. The others were released based on being advised and all that, forced offenders and all that. As I speak to you today, we have the second batch, no less than 100 persons that may be going to court before the end of this week. We have people who were arrested around Coastal Road. Their files are at Wellingara Station. We have people who are arrested at Brusubi. Their files are at Brusubi Station, Sukuta Station, Serakunda Station. So when you put all of these files together, you have no less than 100 who we hopefully before the end of the week, we want to proceed with them to court. It's important for people to understand that this is serious business for people, for everybody, for government, because government is actually putting resources to this. The human resource and financial resources, our time and everything, government has put in place to ensure that these rules and regulations are enforced and to ensure that our roads are safe for everybody.
Thank you so much. Now, from the police PRO, now we move on to stories beyond our borders. In a historic move, the Swiss Federal Criminal Court will commence the trial of Ousmane Sonko, the ex-Gambian Interior Minister, on January 8, 2020. 2016, under the rule of former Gambian dictator Yahya Jammeh. This marks Switzerland's first second-ever trial for crimes against humanity, and set precedent as Sonko becomes the highest-ranking state official to be tried in international crimes in Europe under the universal jurisdictions. Now let's look at migration. Babukar Baye, a 29-year-old Gambian tailor, embarked on a perilous journey to Europe via the back way on a boat from Senegal to the Canary Islands, Spain. He witnessed horrific acts, including the death of a young boy labeled as a witch, the stabbing of a soldier, and the gang rape of a young woman who died, and 3 other Gambians were also murdered. Joining me to discuss this topic is our own reporter, Mohamed Lamin Drame. Welcome to TFN Today.
Thank you, Mr. Jallo.
Well, Emel, you've covered this horrific story that looks at a Gambian migrant who vowed never to embark on this journey. Could you take us through the story and what are some of the pull factors leading to our young Gambians migrating or using the perilous journey to Europe?
Thank you. Aliu, the issue of migration in Gambia, we have a term for it. Backway is a top issue in the country, and the story that you just alluded to, a story of a backway returnee who vowed never to return because of the horrific things that he witnessed on the boat, is a story narrated to us by a returnee, Babukar Baji, who embarked on this journey with the sole purpose of changing, his family's economic situation. So this is how it happens, right? He said the people that he spent his childhood days with are all in Europe, and they have been doing major things in their society. So to him, he believed he's a failure now, so he decided to also embark on this journey. He's a tailor, he is married with kids. So he believed embarking on this journey will change his family's economic situation. So they boarded a boat in Senegal, that is a village called Sukuta, where they boarded a boat to Canary Island in Spain. So many horrific things happened on the boat. A young boy was killed who was described or labeled as a witch. A soldier, a Gambian soldier, was killed on the boat, and then 4 others were also killed, including a young girl who was gang raped and then eventually lost her breath, and they were all thrown to the river. So it is a disturbing story. So when you look at,
now that is very disturbing from narratives, and you could realize that this has actually happened to a lot of our young Gambians. Exactly. Now, could you take us through as to what are some of these pull factors that is leading our young Gambians into this journey after hearing testimonies of people who have survived the journey?
So the main reason why most of our young people are embarking on this journey is socio-economic issues. When you ask all those that embark on this journey, If you ask them why they are embarking on this journey, they will tell you, I want to make money, I want to change my family situation. Now, when you look at the Gambia, the journey, it's not only about those that are unemployed, but in the Gambia we have what we call civil servants, or those that are employed but they are underpaid. So the main reason for these young people going to this journey is one, economic situation. Some are unemployed and they want to embark on this journey to at least better their economic situation. Another thing is also about young people being underpaid. Now, creating a job for young people in the country is one thing, but how much are you paying these young people? If they are underpaid, obviously they will lack hope. They will not have hope in this country. The only thing that they will believe in is that I can only make something when I leave this country, when I go to Europe. So this is what is triggering young people to embark in this journey. I have seen people who are employed for over 8 years, but nothing has changed. They live from hand to mouth, and this is something they believe will not change or will not change anytime soon. That is why they quit their job and then embark on this journey. So many lives have been lost. Some made it to Europe and they are doing big. So it has consequences. It has both negative and then positive consequences. So yes, so many people lost their life, but there are people that are succeeded and then they are doing big. I think those that succeeded are what is motivating others to follow them.
Now, you talked about a lot of young people being employed but underpaid in the process.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think could be done to actually mitigate this? Government actually has always been propagating for creating employment opportunities. As we look at the unemployment rate of youths, it has to stand at 13.5% as of the last census, and we have an unemployment rate of 41%. Now, what do you think could be done to mitigate this?
Now, first thing first is
especially the underpayment that you talk about.
Now, first thing first, what the government should do is to create jobs where employment opportunities will be created for these young people. Now, creating a job, like I said, is one thing, but giving that young people, at the end, giving something to them at the end of the month is also another thing. If they are underpaid, life will be hard for them. So create jobs for young people. Do not only create jobs for them, but pay them good salaries. Let them take something home. Let them at least be able to feed their families. If basic things are available at home, most of them would not, embark on this journey. But some of them are embarking on this journey is because one, they are unemployed, two, they are employed but they are underpaid. So if you are underpaid and then your family is relying on you, obviously, what you will think of is going to backway, because there are people who are there and then they are doing it big for their families.
Now, looking at, go ahead, you want to say something?
No,
looking at it, don't you think the European phobia is also one reason why most of our young people leave? You are an employed civil servant. Maybe you have never attempted actually using the back way. Don't you think there are jobs around here that our young people could do to making sure that they sustain and avoid the back way?
So like I said, so many young people are employed in this country, but most of them are underpaid. The truth is, we have what we call exploitation in the Gambia. So many people are underpaid. So this is a major reason. Like I said, to mitigate this, create jobs for young people. If you create jobs for them, give them good salary, pay them good salary. This will demotivate them from embarking on this journey. But if they are employed for over 5 years, if they are underpaid, if you have someone who is underpaid and the family is dependent on him, what do you think the person will do? The person will look for something or a way out that will at least change his economic situation, and that is what is affecting our young people. So what the government need to do, like I said, is to create more jobs for young people in the country. Now, when you look at the ministries, right, we have a Minister of Youth and Sports. I think this is a ministry where our government should invest a lot. They need to pump in money to the Minister of Youth and Sports. I know they are doing a lot. We have NEDI that is supporting young people, giving them grants and loans to establish small businesses. But when you look at this, a whole year they will only support 32 young people, which to me is not enough. Why not you pump in more money, give them 10 million, support over 50 young people. If you do this every year, it will mitigate the issue of unemployment and also, someone being employed and then underpaid. But when you also look at the ministries, the budget that is allocated to the Minister of Youth and Sports, yes, it's for Ministry of Youth and Sport, but there are other ministries that also they use their funding to support young people. For example, the Ministry of Trade. You look at the Ministry of Tourism. You look at Ministry of Higher Education. You know, the scholarship that they award to young people. So these are all issues that is going to mitigate the issue of backway. And the Ministry of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, they are making what we call a paradigm shift in tertiary education. You know, investing a lot in TVET education. So these are things that will mitigate the issue of going to backway. Because if, you know, young people are schooled in these technical and vocational, you know, schools, you know, at the end of the day, they will create what we call self-employment. So they can create employment for themselves, and they can also create employment for others.
Well, thank you so much. Now let's look at migration. Well, that was our reporter there, ML Drame, discussing on issues around migration. Now, moving on to sports. Sarayero FC won the Sarengai football tournament in a thrilling final against Jeddah with goalkeeper Sadio Ba as the hero. Despite a strong defense from Jeddah, Sarayero secured victory in a penalty shooter. The tournament, sponsored by Honorable Jibin Balo, aimed at showcase rural football talent and promote unity among communities. Our reporter Dauda Balde was there, and he picks up the story.
As Sarayero FC and Jeddah battle it out for the championship. Sponsored by Honorable Jibin Balo, the National Assembly member for Lower Fuladu West, the tournament showcased the talent of rural footballers. In a spectacular display of skills, Sarayero goalkeeper Sadio Ba was emerged as the hero of the day, securing victory for his team against a resilient Jeddah side. Despite dominating the game and creating multiple chances, Sarayero struggled to convert their opportunities into goals thanks to Jeddah's strong defense. Both teams showcased a combination of talent and experience, with Jeddah aiming to win the trophy after a decade-long drought. As the clock ticked down, the anticipation grew, and fans from both sides cheered their teams on, hoping to see their favorite side lift the giant trophy. After a goalless draw in regular time, the match was decided by a dramatic penalty shootout. Sarero's Ado Balde was the first to take a penalty but hit the crossbar, increasing the pressure on the defending champions. However, Sarayero managed to score their remaining penalties, while Jeddah faltered with two missed shots from Suleiman Singate and Cherno Conte. The final score in the shootout was 5-3 in favor of Sarayero FC. Beyond the prize and trophy, this tournament symbolized unity among the participating rural communities. It also served as a platform for people to come together, support each other, and foster a sense of togetherness. Honorable Jibin Balo, the Lower Fuladu West National Assembly member, expressed his satisfaction with the success of the tournament.
My people are unified. After the final whistle, everybody embraced one another. So this is a very good thing for me. I'm very happy. And not only that, it has served as a source of revenue for the community here. You can see there was gate taken today. At least there is something that they can take away. So I'm very happy.
With support from friends and partners, Mbala was able to provide the teams with football materials throughout the